You're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you muted me.
Nope.
Okay, I'd like to call the April 6th Winston-Salem Recreation and Parks Commission meeting to order.
I'll go ahead and read the governor's order and then take roll. Due to the governor's recent order, all members of the Recreation and Parks Commission are participating virtually. For virtual meetings, commission members will be muted until asked to be heard. At that time, they will be unmuted and recognized. And when there is a vote, it will be necessary to take a roll call vote. A commission member will then be recognized and state their name for the vote. And today's meeting is a public meeting per the notice. Citizens can listen to the meeting. If they would like to do so, they can contact the city manager's office to make necessary arrangements. And the meeting will also be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, which can be accessed via the city website. A recording of today's meeting will be available by Tuesday on the city's YouTube page. Okay, go ahead and do a roll. Kathy?
I'm here.
Okay. John Gunkel?
Oh, sorry.
John Gunkel? John Gunkel? I think he's there. I can see his name. John Gunkel, are you there? Okay. Tig O'Gara is not. Tig O'Gara? Okay. Sean Hawkins?
Here.
John France? John France?
He looks muted.
I see him here.
John, are you muted?
Yeah, I see him in the participant list. We'll go ahead and mark him. Cherie Ingram?
Here.
Joe Cassidy?
Present.
Okay, and Taylor Ansley is absent today. Do we have any guests with us today? Other than marketing? Okay.
Felicia, I'm sorry. If you called me, I didn't hear, but I'm here too. George.
Oh, yep. I gotcha. I saw your name on there. I don't think I called you though. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, we do have quorum though. So.
And Bob is not here too, right?
Yes, Bob Hartwell is also absent.
So we have 3 missing?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so are we ready to get started?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the first order of business is to approve the minutes from February. Felicia, if you could share them with the group, that'd be great. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't write down in my notes what needed to be revised from the February minutes. Can you refresh our memory on that?
Yeah, it was this section right here talking about Muddy Creek.
Okay.
Basically, the commission asked for some additional details on what the issues were out there, other than just how the city dealt with the maintenance portion.
Okay, so my recollection now that you say that is that it's been a follow-up item for quite a while, and I think the point was to ask the commission to recognize that Muddy Creek was built in a flood zone and recognize that the Recreation and Parks maintenance team cleans up as soon as they can. And is there really a need to keep talking about this, or can we close it as a follow-up item? So it's not really, I guess it's not really a voting issue.
No.
So, all right. So we'll just, I would like to suggest that we just no longer include it going forward. And if somebody has a new issue or new interest in discussing Muddy Creek, then you are absolutely free to bring it back up in the meeting. Everybody's okay with that? All right, terrific. All right, so may I have a motion to approve the February minutes?
So moved.
Can you please state your name for the vote?
Joe Cassidy.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second that.
That was
Can you please
Sean.
state your name? Sean?
Sean, I second that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you.
February
All right.
minutes are approved.
Great. So let's look at the March minutes, please.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. Did everybody have a chance to read through this? So we had a gift deed of the properties, and I believe we all approved of that. Kelly Bennett gave a public art presentation, which included the jukebox and the portrait project. We talked about our 3 different focus groups. So the commission roles and responsibilities, John Lawson is working on that. He's the city attorney. William, my understanding is that he is scheduled to come in April to present that to us.
In May.
Yeah, sorry, it's April now, isn't it? Okay, in May. Time flies. Okay, in May. Terrific. The second, anybody have any comments about that? Okay. The second focus group was about deferred maintenance. And deferred maintenance, I think, William, you're going to give an update on that during your department update?
Yes.
Okay. And the third has to do with the community engagement. So Sean and George, I think you guys were at that meeting. Maybe if one or the other of you would like to tell us what you, give us an update, that'd be great.
Sure, I can. Sean, if you want me to.
That's fine. That's fine.
So it was kind of just a general meeting talking a little bit about some of the thoughts that we had discussed about social media and how we would engage there. What we essentially talked about was, and I think this might have been mentioned less specifically before, was we talked about whether or not we wanted the commission itself to have its own social media presence, and or whether any of the commissions in the city could, and just kind of a general idea about how to make sure that people knew these commissions existed and a little bit more insight into what they do. What we pretty much ended up falling on was, rather than doing that, which has a lot of upkeep involved with it, we would instead, the city Facebook and Twitter and whatnot would do a more sort of wide-ranging job of mentioning the various committees and commissions and highlighting what they've been doing. I know we talk about the fact at the beginning, as Felicia just mentioned, we have the live viewings and also you can listen to the commission meetings, and those also end up being recorded. And so we were talking about basically social media, more specifically highlighting those and linking to them and saying, hey, the Recreation and Parks Commission is having a meeting. Here's where you can listen. Here's how you can find out about it. And also here's where the recording is once it's done, and maybe highlighting a different commission on a regular basis. And that way people get a little bit of a better insight into what's going on with these. And so that was kind of where we fell. I don't know if anybody else who was on the call wants to mention anything else, but that to me was kind of the big takeaway. But they were really helpful. The city was really understanding about what we were requesting, and they were really great about kind of coming up with an idea for how to go about doing that and finding staffing and time to get that done.
So George or Sean, were there any follow-up items from that? Is there anything else for the focus group to continue doing?
I wouldn't say there was any specific follow-ups. I think what we could probably do is keep an eye on the social media, maybe get a sort of a update from them at some point to say, hey, here's what we remember talking about. What's sort of the status of it? So I think that's one thing we could do. So, we can kind of keep a watchful eye on social media and see if that kind of starts to happen. I imagine it'll take some time for them to get that up to speed. So I wasn't expecting that to turn around immediately or anything, but maybe over the next couple of weeks and months, we can just see if it kind of appears, and if it doesn't, or if we think there's something they could change, we could always update them and give them some more feedback.
Okay, John, can you comment on your chat text there? John Gunkel, are you able to talk? Okay.
follow up with about his comment, Kathy.
He says, I think the marketing director was going to get with William.
Yeah, Ed McNeil is the marketing director for the city of Winston-Salem, and all of the city's marketing, promotions, social media outlets is they're managed by our marketing department and Ed McNeil. Ed and I are going to get together, kind of figure out some very specific ways to highlight some of the things that this particular commission does. And I know that at the earlier meeting, there was also discussion about doing that for other commissions throughout the city. But Ed and I have not sat down to kind of go over those details yet. But once we're able to, we'll bring some of those suggestions back to the commission.
So William, could we maybe earmark, or maybe this is for George and Sean and John Gunkel, for you guys to earmark kind of on your calendar 2 or 3 months from now, just to, ask about it again, maybe follow up with William or follow up with Ed so that we don't lose track of it?
Sure.
That'd be fine. So maybe, I don't know, May, June, maybe sometime in July, George, you might be able to, or Sean might be able to tell us what you know.
Yeah, we can do that. Sean, maybe we can follow up with them around then and then report back to everybody.
Okay. And I mean, there's nothing magic about July. I'm sorry, Sean, were you going to say something?
No, I was just commenting on what George was saying, that we can definitely follow up with them, and when we have our meeting, we can kind of get all that information together to be able to present at that time.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So we'll just kind of earmark it sometime in the July-ish time frame, and so we don't lose track of it. Okay. I'm sorry, I've sort of lost my train of thought here, haven't I? We were going through the March minutes and I got into updates. Is that what I did?
Yeah, we still need to approve.
I'm sorry, we didn't approve March yet. Sorry, guys, you should. Okay, so going back to the March minutes, we reviewed the stoplight report. There were a lot of questions, and so the department sent the YouTube so that we could watch the meeting. Anybody have anything else? Any other comments about the minutes? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes that were read, pending any corrections.
Okay, thank you, Sean. I don't think we heard any corrections yet. A second for the March minutes?
I'll second.
Was that George?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so I think we have approved March minutes. I'm sorry, guys, I started going into the updates.
It's okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes for March?
Aye.
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 Okay. Are there any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now you can go to the agenda. And I think we've actually covered all three of the of section 3, which is the focus group updates. Okay, so now we can go to the department updates and information. William?
We have Leah Frainer, who's our assistant director, that is over our recreation centers and their programming, staff and programming. Leah, I'll turn it over to you to go through the information that you have regarding recreation centers.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So we're scrolling down. So we have diligently been planning recreation programs. Looking forward to summer, we have high hopes and great anticipation that COVID will, be behind us or close to being behind us at that point, and we've moved forward with starting to program our summer activities. So we started registration on March 27th for our summer camp programs. Have nice turnout. I would say 4 out of 8 of our locations are at capacity. So we still have 4 more locations that have a few spots available for summertime. We've also been looking at increasing our athletics and other programs. So as you guys know, some of our challenges have been, how do we provide quality recreation program and activities while we're still being mindful of social distancing and wearing masks and everything. So we had a great success back in December doing a drive-in bingo. So we're going to duplicate that in April and do it again. The drive-in bingo serves as two functions, fun family get together, but also we do a food donation drive with the Second Harvest Food Bank. Last time we did this, we were able to gather over 400 pounds of food and donate it. So we're looking forward to duplicating that again. Felicia, can you scroll down a little bit for the Northside Rangers? So this is a great program that we've started. It is a combination program going on at Old Town and Polo, getting kids outside back into nature. So this has been very well received by the community. Excited this is kind of our inaugural one, first time that we're doing this. Looking forward to seeing how this goes and duplicate it at multiple locations afterwards. Right now, we have our spring break camp. Forsyth County schools are out. Kids got a beautiful week to have off. We've got very great weather. So in rec centers right now, we have a spring break camp. We have a lot of kids that are registered in that. So they're definitely taking advantage of this weather being outdoors. Keep on scrolling for me. So this is exciting. We have got a facility, Mealy Davis Harris, which was the former 14th Street Recreation Center. We have targeted teen programming at this location. And for spring break, we took a twist on what our typical spring camp would be for teens, and we are doing college campus tours. So each day this week, we have teens, and memory serves, I think we have about 10, which is phenomenal for this being our first time doing it. Teens are going to different locations across, the state to visit universities. Yesterday, I know they went to Appalachian, I believe, had a lot of fun. So this is new, been very well received, excited about it. It's all about getting kids out there, teaching them. And a lot of people were wondering, well, why don't we have Winston-Salem State on here and Wake Forest? Well, the concept behind that is it's in Winston. We can go there anytime. We can do that after school one day, but we picked out locations that kids may have some transportation barriers to get to and want to expose them to different locations outside of Winston. And then I've already spoke about summer camps. Very excited about that. Also, if you'll notice, we have got a dedicated teen camp this year. Excited to do that as well. That's going to be at Mealy Davis Harris. Then we have our traditional camps, doing another virtual camp, and then of course Camp Discovery is a camp for children with developmental disabilities. So that is it. Quick update on recreation centers. We are slowly and intentionally starting to open them back up. We've got 14 out of 17 of our facilities up and operating with limited programming. So excited about that. The community is starting to come back out and support indoor programming. So looking forward to getting all of them open by the end of summer. Any questions about any of the programs or anything we have going on?
When will the pools be back, or when will the pools start to get back going again?
So hopefully we're right now hiring for lifeguards is going on and the training. Traditionally, we open on Memorial Day weekend. So one of them will be open then, and the rest will slowly open in June and July.
Yes, the first two pools that are scheduled to open will be Kimberly and Bolton. And those are slated to open on Memorial Day weekend. As Leah mentioned, staff is working to do a lot of the hiring for lifeguards. One of the challenges, typically in years past, we've used the pool at Winston-Salem State to train, because it was an indoor pool, to train lifeguards and get them certified prior to our pool season. Currently, there is no water in the pool at Winston-Salem State. They're having some difficulty with, there's some maintenance issues with the pool, and therefore they've drained it, and we're not able to use it for lifeguard training this year. That, coupled with the fact that we typically start recruitment for lifeguards in anywhere as early as February, at the latest March, going into the school system and going into schools and doing active recruiting there. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that either. Currently, we're about a little more than halfway there in terms of having enough lifeguards to operate all of our pools on a rotating schedule. Our goal is to open to have all of our pools open this summer. We will use Bolton as a training ground once that pool is ready and open as a new location to begin to train lifeguards for this upcoming year. Again, if you know any kids 16 years or older that are looking for summer employment, the opportunity is there. We will train them and get them doing something very constructive during this summer year. So that's kind of where we are right now in terms of pools, Sean. But when we get closer to being able to tie down exactly which pools will open, we'll make sure we provide those dates to you as well as get them out on our website as well. Any other questions regarding recreation programs?
Hey, William, how's the renovations going at Roscoe Anderson? I know they was doing some work in there, and matter of fact, at a couple different recreation centers. Has most of the work in those recreation center facilities been completed, or they still working on most of those projects? The projects you're referring to are the gym floor renovations. And Sean, the renovations at Roscoe Anderson are pretty much complete. The floor itself, the work on the floor is complete. I believe they're waiting on finishing the installation of the bleachers and some other minor details there. But that floor is pretty much, that particular project is almost complete. The other locations, which include Sprague, Sims, the 2 gyms at Miller, and what's the one I'm missing? MLK. Those floors, we awarded contracts last month. We're working with the contractor to issue a notice to proceed. And it's our belief once we're able to issue that notice to proceed, we'll get a schedule from the contractor. But all of that work will be complete this summer. It's scheduled to be complete this summer. Are they still going to put a new floor in Carl Russell, or is that's going to be, when they get done with the others, they're going to move towards one by one?
No, the reason why the gyms that I just mentioned are on a different schedule than Roscoe Anderson and Carl Russell is because those are individual projects. So Carl Russell is its own project, all in itself. And yes, as part of the renovations there will be a new hardwood gym floor that goes in as part of those renovations as well. And the renovations at Roscoe Anderson, as I mentioned, are pretty much complete. But so you have the 5 gyms that we're working on. That's one project. Then you have Carl Russell, which is its own individual project, and then you have the individual project at Roscoe W.R. Anderson, which are all underway.
It's gonna look good once it's done.
Yes, it will. We're excited about getting those facilities open to kind of showcase some of the creativity and the design work and quality that we're expecting once these projects are complete.
Yeah, my son wants to know when he gonna be able to play basketball in the league, and I told him hopefully soon. I say the city Parks and Rec is working diligently to get things back up and running. Hopefully, once everything gets back, full speed, we can start resuming some of the activities like you all had talked about for us, getting us back into those similar routines that we were doing once before.
Yes. Yep. And you hit the nail on the head, Sean. We're excited about that as well. I think as many of us have realized, the entire community's been kind of under lock and key due to COVID. It's not only affected our community, it's affected our staff. One of the reasons why we do what we do is because we want to be engaged with the community. We want to be engaged with kids and their families and being able to make a difference. And so our staff is just as eager as the public is to get back out and start doing some things. So we're looking forward to that. Any other questions regarding recreation centers programs and pools or any of the projects that we have moving forward? Renata, I believe Renata Owens is on the call as well. I'll have Renata kind of go through and give a brief update on some of the things that we're working on from a maintenance standpoint. Some of the things that we've some new projects and some ongoing work as it relates to maintenance. Renata.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Director Worston has already talked and spoke about some of the projects that are moving forward, but just to bring you up to speed, Our playgrounds, which we're looking at Bolton, Lockland, Skyland, Reynolds, and Winston Lake 1, 3, and 4, and Brushy Fork. They are coming along pretty well. Skyland has completely been put in. And basically we're looking just to do some trees and some improving for the landscaping there. Reynolds Park over here across the street from us down here at Rec Maintenance. If you drive by, you can see that that playground has been actually input and it's working. We still have to do some landscaping and things over in there. Bolton, we're still working on. That's a big project. So we're still looking to put in underground piping and things of that nature. So the playgrounds are coming in and they're doing very well. Other little things we're talking about, we had lighting in our soccer fields. The lighting for the soccer fields out at Little Creek is complete. Those are in. So Musco lighting is there and available. Currently at this time, we're waiting for Hines Park. Contractor has been waiting due to the weather, but we're looking within the next week or so, he will be back in and hopefully he'll have that complete in about 2 to 3 weeks. The last one will be Sara Lee, as Sara Lee will take place and start probably in around May 10th. That is due to, we also have a project going on through there as a utility project that they're coming through with some piping there. One of the things we've been working on here too, working with Scott Miller and his group for MLA Design is a Jerry King master plan. So we're looking at a park master plan there. That is still work in process, and once complete, it will be finalized. Reynolds Park Pool is undergoing replastering. That project should be finished and complete in time for pool opening season. Other than that, just an update where we are with Hobby Park. As of right now with Hobby Park, we have completed the relocation of the trees. That has been approved by inspection, so that piece of the project is good. We've been contacted by the contractor out there. The Derby track within 2 weeks should be finished in regards for putting up the guardrails, and they would at that time reach out to inspections to give final inspection on that. And at that time, we will go through, do some cosmetics out there at Hobby Park, making sure things look good, and that project should be closed at that time. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Renata, I mean, it sounds like you guys have been doing a lot of work. It sounds like a really busy schedule. I am wondering about Whitaker Park.
Okay.
So Whitaker Park has, like, the dumpsters don't seem to get emptied, and I think the restrooms there have never been opened that I'm aware of. At least for the last 8 years, I don't think they've been opened. All of the soccer goals are old and rusty and in bad shape. Are there any plans to do anything with Whitaker?
Yes, ma'am. You're spot on. We were talking about Whitaker today. Oh. One of the things in regards to the dumpster out there, we as staff have been looked and we have been advised we will be removing that dumpster to eliminate a lot of the trash and debris that is being dumped out there. So we're working on that piece of it. Also, just to let you know, we have a project going on out there, which is an AMI project, which is a utility project. They will be inserting and putting in a monopole. So in that process with that, we have come to learn in regards to there was a water issue out there. So those restrooms, we are looking into getting those open back. It is our understanding they had been closed for about a couple of years. So we're looking to come back and see what is the problem. So we're kind of collaborating with utilities to see exactly what happened, what is actually going on, to see why they had not been open and why no water has been running to those.
Yeah, so and to piggyback on that particular topic, there are many instances where, over the last year, typically Whitaker Park would have been one of the soccer fields that would typically get programmed. And so there will be programs and activities and staff and kids out there using that field. But because of COVID, that area never really got used because all of those activities were shut down. What you'll find is that a lot of our water meters and a lot of our infrastructure issues, or a lot of our infrastructure that supports water system, sewer, and electrical things that provide services to our parks will will a lot of times break. And so when staff will go out and turn the water meter on, the valve may be spinning, but it doesn't mean that the valve is actually opening up, providing the water service to the restrooms. It's an issue that we're actually discussing, as Renata mentioned today. We're going to work to figure out why. It's either an issue between the meter and the pump room or the restrooms, but it should be a simple fix. And we worked through a very similar issue last week up at Winston Lake Park, trying to figure out why we weren't getting water pressure to one of our picnic shelters when we knew that the water was turned on. So these are very typical maintenance issues that we'll work through. Whitaker isn't very different. I know that there had been a dumpster there for years. Some of the residents and some of the people that would go by and know that dumpster was there would take advantage of that and kind of dump a little bit of everything out there. So we're going to remove that dumpster and see if that helps alleviate some of those issues, and also make it a point to keep the gates locked so that people aren't driving in there and dumping things in this space where the dumpster used to be. Because I don't think just removing the dumpster will alleviate the problem with people doing illegal dumping at that particular location. But I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we received an email or a phone call about it, and we've been working very hard since that time to kind of get those issues addressed. I apologize, Renata. Anything else you have regarding Whitaker Park?
No, sir, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right, that's what we have, Kathy, in terms of maintenance updates. I know that you and I discussed me kind of going into a few things regarding Lone Creek. And I know that there was I know that Joe sent an email to the journal that I addressed last week. That was in the paper. I think it was on the electronic edition today. But you and I discussed about maybe talking about the timeline and what some of the processes involved from the beginning to the end, of kind of where we are with Lone Creek. And if you would like, I can kind of go through some of those details now, if you'd like, or we can table it for a future discussion.
I'm fine with that. Unless anybody, well, William, you were also, so the deferred maintenance, because this is another topic, so I want to make sure that we have enough time. Deferred maintenance was presented to the Public Works Committee. And I believe Public Works asked for the Recreation and Parks Department to focus on parks that got a D and F rating. And William, you and I talked about whether there's any opportunity for the commission members maybe to participate or help, or how can we add value with that exercise that you guys are going through. So I'm kind of interested in both of those, if we have enough time to talk about them.
Which one would you like for me to go through first?
Does anybody care? I mean, I'd kind of like to know the D and F story.
Okay.
Because I think that affects more of the commission members, I believe.
Okay. We've actually, Stephen Younes is our new Recreation Administrative Manager. He's on the call today, and I was going to kind of introduce him to everyone towards the conclusion of this meeting. Steve came to us from Rockingham County. It's been a tremendous help with kind of analyzing a lot of the data that was provided to us by our consultant when the deferred maintenance assessment was completed. I think it would be safe to say that some of the data that was provided, there were some inaccuracies with some of it. I wouldn't say a majority of it. However, some of those inaccuracies did impact some of the park scores, but not all of them. In the deferred maintenance assessment, there were several facilities such as, I'll take Happy Hill Park, for example, that was rated an F. Once all of the improvements, and then the improvements at that particular location, I'll say 95% complete. About the only thing left to do there are the final items regarding the track area, and getting the surface down and getting the track properly striped. But that's one area where that park received an F that was completely and totally renovated. There wouldn't have been any existing or any remaining park amenities there from when the deferred maintenance assessment was completed. But what we did find while we were going through the data and after we met with the consultant was that one of the things that stood out pretty pretty well amongst from the deferred maintenance assessment was that there's something that they were rated on called curb appeal. And curb appeal, and the simplest explanation is, I was talking to my superintendent and some of our supervisors today about curb appeal. It's the curb appeal is that feeling that you get, and some of the issues regarding particular parks that either make you want to go in and visit that particular location, or is it something that you could look at and get a feeling that I'd rather go on down the street and find another park to go to, just because visually from the curb appeal standpoint, it doesn't look inviting. And so all of our parks were rated on curb appeal. And there are some things that can be, there may be some things that can be rolled into routine maintenance. There are some things that can be rolled into capital improvements, and there are some other issues that could be that we can work with other city departments and agencies to improve the curb appeal of certain park locations. A lot of that's going to be the landscaping, the mowing, visually how that park looks. There are a lot of civic organizations and different groups. There are also certain individuals throughout the city that participate in that adopt parks. We do have an adopt a park program. We do have an adopt a trail program. And typically they work with Keep Winston-Salem Beautiful, that is run by George Stilfen. And typically what these groups would do is, at least, I think there's, as part of the agreement, that the groups or individuals would look to go out to those particular park locations or greenways or creeks and do one scheduled cleanup, trash cleanup, where there's debris, limbs, and other debris that could be at those particular park locations or creeks or greenways, and kind of clean those up. And the city provides materials, supplies, bags. They'll come by and pick everything up once the work is complete. But some of the curb appeal, I think, is something, if you wanted to kind of get your hands dirty, if the commission wanted to kind of get their hands dirty to help make a difference, is maybe if you look at some of the parks that did not rate highly in terms of the curb appeal area of the rating, and seeing what can be done once, maybe get some feedback from you all to see, like, if you were to visit that particular location, maybe to make some notes about what that particular park location, how you feel when you visit that park location. What are some of the things that kind of stand out to you, whether is it the limbing of the trees, whether it's sight lines, whether it's high grass, whether it's the way that the landscaping is being maintained. If there are certain things that kind of stood out, then we can work with our partnering city departments that do that maintenance for us, kind of get those ideas out in front of them and begin to kind of change the culture in terms of how those areas are being maintained so that they don't become reoccurring issues. There's also an opportunity for the commission to, as I mentioned earlier, to maybe adopt a park, or maybe adopt a few parks that do have some of those lower scores. Getting any support and hands-on support out of those facilities would be extremely beneficial to not just us, but vegetation management and property facilities management. That's another way. There is some paperwork to fill out for that, but what it also allows you to do is the city can provide a lot of the materials, the trash bags and the rakes and the pickup sticks and things that you could use out at those locations to kind of help provide some assistance with us in getting those cleaned up. A lot of the larger major issues, like the one that Renata was mentioning earlier regarding like Whitaker Park, I mean, there are certain processes that we have that I don't know how the infrastructure part, what infrastructure items any volunteers, not just the commission, but any volunteers could provide assistance with us on. It's just a matter of being made aware of what those issues are so we can get corrective measures put in place to move forward. But there are some things that I think from a curb appeal standpoint that could be very, very beneficial if the commission wants to get involved and kind of get out and provide some assistance with us with those. And once those improvements are made, maybe you kind of go back out, revisit those locations and kind of see if the improvements that were suggested that we've attempted to move forward with, if they really made a difference, and that those can routinely impact not only your park score, but anyone's experience if they were visiting those particular park locations.
Hey, William, this is John.
Yes.
A quick question. You mentioned the appearance ratings for the parks. Which document is the appearance ratings?
It wasn't, that data was not part of the final report. It was part of the back end, larger Excel document that they had tons of formulas in that, there were a series of tables that they took their raw data in, that they placed their raw data into that helped generate these numbers. And Stephen could probably go into more detail because he explained it to me, and he also contributed to help cleaning up a lot of that data. But it was on the back end. It wasn't actually a chart or something that could be printed out and placed inside the document.
Well, I'm just wondering, if the commission members want to go out and kind of view some of these parks, we need a list of them to show which ones, basically view unfavorably.
Right. We could provide that list to you, the ones that, and like a park's overall score could be an A, but the curb appeal could be a D or an F. Right. So we can give you what the overall park scores were for the ones that did not have that kind of curb appeal, and provide that to you as a list of locations. And it's something that you can just routinely go to and visit. And as you're out there, kind of make some notes and say, hey, William, I was out at East Don Park over the weekend, and these are some of the things that got my attention. And some of those things may be items that me and my maintenance team can address, but there may be some items that we have to work with another department, or we'll have to work with streets, or work with DOT, or work with vegetation management to kind of get those items corrected. But at least we're putting it out in front of them, actively letting them know kind of what the issues are.
All right, thank you. Yeah, if we can get that, that'd be great.
I mean, Kathy, does that sound like something that you think the commission, that you want to maybe ask the commission to kind of take on for at least 6 months to a year, look at those park locations, and then we'll be able to kind of track what you will kind of have a checkpoint to see where we are now, and then as we move through these items, kind of see where we're going and seeing what kind of progress is being made.
Yeah, I mean, it appeals to me. I also think it has some opportunity maybe with the community marketing that we talked about earlier, and maybe getting some of the, if we can make some improvements, getting that posted on the social media that the city already has. I also wonder, in addition to the curb appeal, once we get that list, would there be like a hit list maybe, or a checklist that if we go out there that, just to kind of prompt whoever's going to go out and look to look at specific areas, like, I don't know, are the trees good? Is the grass good? Is the, whatever.
I could give you that, but it would be my suggestion to not do it that way. Your experience is going to be very different than John's or Sean's or mine. I'm going to look at things with a different lens, and I want to, I think collectively, there are things that may stand out differently with you than it would for me. And so when you have different commission members kind of going to different locations, and where we begin to see that overlap of concerns, those are the things that are going to stand out as high priorities for me, as things that probably more people recognize than we would probably give credit for. So I would kind of want to leave it just wide open, and not kind of just give you a list to check off of to say, like, this was done well, this wasn't done well, this was done well. There may be some things in terms of, to kind of give you an idea about some of the things I would look for: visibility in and out of the facility. I would look at how well the property is being maintained, at least from the right of way. So if you're riding by that particular park location, how does it look like a place that you would feel comfortable going into and spending some time with your family? Does it look like it has is there proper lighting? How are the parking? How are the parking lots? Is there locations where there needs to be signage where there currently isn't signage? Is there too much signage at this particular location, and it ends up taking away from some of the beauty that the park can provide? So it's those kinds of things. You look at the lighting, you look at the circulation, you look at the visibility. What kind of feeling you get once you go by and you see that park? There's going to be different every park is different. You're going to have a different experience at each one. I'd be curious to know what you would see and how it compares to what we see, because we deal with it and what the general public sees when they have the opportunity to kind of go by there.
You know, one thing I could say, going back to Whitaker Park, because I live next to Whitaker Park, I think there's an opportunity to add a dog park there. I mean, that's what everybody in the neighborhood does. They walk to Whitaker Park to let their dogs go. Yeah. Whitaker Park. I think it'd be a great dog park. Anyway, I only know that because I live there. So there may be opportunities for the commission members. If you guys think it's an interesting way that we might be able to add value and help the department, is when we look at that list, maybe look at things that are near where you live, and or I like the adopt a park idea too. I know we've talked about Long Creek a lot. You know, maybe there's some people that, if there isn't already a group that's adopted Long Creek, you know, maybe there should be. I like both those ideas, but again, they're not voting items, so I'm not really sure procedurally, William, what we're supposed to do to figure out whether we're doing this or not.
If there's a, you know, I'll have to check, let me double check into that, but I think that it shouldn't be an issue if the commission were to decide as a group, this is what we're going to do. This is what we need to do to help the city. This is what we want to this is how we want to kind of get our hands dirty. And coming to an agreement as a commission, I mean, I would leave that, you know, I guess that can be left up to the chair, the vice chair to kind of figure out what those, who's going to go to which locations, what the time frame. I think that would be kind of left up to you, how that would be structured. It wouldn't require any of, you know, we wouldn't send extra staff over to Happy Hill because we knew that you were going to Happy Hill that day. We want you to see it for what it is. And so I wouldn't think that that list would even need to be shared. Which locations you're going to would need to be shared with me or my staff. It's the feedback that we receive from that, to me, which is going to be really important. But I'll check with John Lawson to see if it's okay for you guys to take an official vote on that. And if it is, then maybe we can discuss that when it comes to the main meeting as well. Okay, so John Gunkel, since you're vice chair, you and I can kind of powwow about this. Here's what I'm interested in doing is kind of just going around the room, if that's okay, and asking each commission member whether you would like to do this or not do it. And then we can, what do you think, John Gunkel? You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So what do you think?
I would support it.
I'm with it too.
You're for it? Sean is for it. How about Cherie? How do you feel about it, Cherie?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm for that.
So you would participate? You'd actually go out and help look and look at the curb appeal?
Yeah, as long as it's not interfering with my with my work.
Yeah, I got it. Joe, how about you?
Absolutely.
Okay. George?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. Okay, did I miss anybody on the commission? John France.
I think he may still be having computer issues.
Okay. All right, so that sounds good. So William, if you send us the list, oh, Sean, you're trying to say something.
Quick question, William, with the park, I mean, the playground area that our neighborhood association put up there by 14th Street, we had already talked about as a neighborhood association of using a day to clean that area. Mm-hmm. So we're on schedule with what you're already talking about, which is great. And that fits along with doing a neighborhood cleanup, which that park has our neighborhood association name on it. So I said we're responsible for that park as far as if we want to do a cleanup. You know, I mean, I think that would be great. That fits right into what you're already saying. And me and my son, we went around the community probably about a week and a half ago and picked up trash in the community. We did our whole neighborhood, just me and him.
I see, Sean, that I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was going to lead into another point that I was going to mention to Kathy and the commission, is that it's what's important. I think that your roles on the commission can be used in several different ways, and that many of you live, I don't think that anyone on the commission all lives in the same neighborhood. You all live in your respective areas throughout the city of Winston-Salem. But what we find to be extremely powerful is that if you live in a particular area of town and you're going to have a vested interest in the parks and the facilities in that area of town, anything that you can do to get the community in that area of town out in our parks and being active in those locations, there has been a tremendous amount of research that has proven that it reduces the amount of vandalism, it reduces the amount of crime, it reduces the amount of complaints. When the communities around our facilities take ownership of them. And so there's also an opportunity for you in the commission individually to do something very much as what Sean just described. You know, maybe there's a park or a couple of parks that your neighborhood agencies or neighborhood community groups would look to adopt individually that can help provide some assistance, and more, it's spread it out more. Getting the community involved in the areas where you live could also be a tremendous help. And, you know, I don't mind providing some assistance to you to kind of help with that process. But that's, you know, that is a really surefire way to get the community out, enjoying facilities and learning more about what we have to offer. Very few people would know that we'll have 82 parks here once the spending from the 2018 bonds are complete. But we have far more park properties. They just aren't developed. And so, you know, getting people informed, getting people out actively involved is also something that the commission could take on as a challenge to get those neighborhood groups adopting some of these facilities, adopting some of these trails, and taking ownership for them. That is one of the biggest ways that I feel as a director for Recreation and Parks feel that you could provide direct assistance and ongoing assistance for us.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments on that? Okay, so I think William, you or Felicia will get us a list of the parks that have the poor curb appeal rating.
Yes.
And then John Gunkel and I will kind of go through them, and I guess we'll just reach out to well, if we provide that list to everybody on the commission, I'm thinking out loud here, then maybe the commission members can look to see which parks are in their areas or.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then whatever information you gather, we can kind of figure out a way to make sure that the information that's being collected is consistent so staff is not spending a lot of time sorting it. Once we get that, we can kind of provide, say, here's our curb appeal update. That's something that we can either push out prior to commission meetings, or we can just push out once those actual improvements are done. Give you an opportunity to kind of go back out, revisit it. It doesn't have to be it can be a topic of discussion that you feel you want to kind of go through every month or every couple of months, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be something ongoing, dynamic as we continue to go through, because it's my belief that once we make improvements, we can change the processes to make sure that these don't become recurring issues, that maybe we can look at other park locations, and that, you know, it's a cycle. And as we kind of go through it, you know, we'll continue working on making these improvements that we feel the community needs and deserves.
Cool. Okay. So when do you think you might be able to get that list to us?
Well, I'll get with Steve at the conclusion of this meeting. I do want to take a minute. I know we have 6 minutes left. I do want to give an opportunity to kind of give him an opportunity to introduce himself.
Okay.
So you can put a face with the name. But we'll kind of try to get that information to you, try to get it out to you, if not end of this week, maybe first couple of days next week. Okay. Steve, I'd like to introduce Stephen Yachts. He's our, I don't want to keep calling him new. He's been here for a little over a month now, I believe, but he's our new Recreation Administrative Manager. Steve is has a tremendous amount of responsibility. He's working. He's over our key work items. He's going to be writing a lot of grants for us. He's going to take care of a lot of our day-to-day finances, where money's being spent, making sure that people are following the proper procedures, city policies and procedures when it comes to purchasing and buying certain things across the park system. Pretty much any bill that we receive in recreation, anytime we spend any money in recreation, it's going to go across his desk for approval before it reaches me. And so I'd like to give Steve an opportunity to introduce himself. This is his first commission meeting, but I'd like to kind of give Steve an opportunity to introduce himself so you guys can put a name with the face. Steve?
Hello, everyone. As Mr. Royston stated, my name is Stephen. I'm the new Recreation Administrative Manager. In 2 days, I'll be here officially for a full month, so it's been a fun little journey so far, but I do look forward to working with you all to make our community and parks better for everyone. And if there's anything I can ever do, please reach out. I'm here to serve everyone. So whatever I can do to help y'all just let me know.
All right, thank you, Steve. Steve was working as a deputy tax collector for Rockingham County.
That's correct, yes, sir.
And Steve is one of the, I've said this before, and I've said it in the past, and still stand firm to this. I think we have some very, very talented staff within our department and throughout our department. It's one of the reasons why we're able to get so many things done with not a lot of resources. I've seen Stephen do things with spreadsheets that I didn't think were physically possible. He has a very, very good knack of numbers and understanding the numbers and making sure that we're doing things as efficiently as possible. So Steve's been a godsend to us. We've been excited to have him here. He's a lot of fun. He knows his stuff, and it's just grateful to have him on board as part of our team moving forward. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Kathy, I don't know if we would have enough time for me to kind of go through and be able to give the commission the amount of time needed to accurately discuss the status of Long Creek and where we are, where we started, where we are, and kind of where we're going, what's going to be next. How about we table that for next month's discussion? The two primary things on the agenda would be John Lawson coming and kind of going over some things that he's been working on, that I can spend some time going over Long Creek. And there may be one or two official items that I will need the commission to officially vote on at that time as well. But I'll wait to make sure that those items are ready to move forward with and present to you all.
Yeah, that's fine. I think John and I will get together by then. I'm hoping that we'll have a brief update on this curb appeal exercise also next time. Yeah. Also. Okay.
I have one thing before we leave. I want to thank William and Renata Owens for listening to the concerns that people had out at Hobby Park and following up and getting that done.
Thank you, John. It really means a lot. Staff works really, really hard and try to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the community. And we tell people all the time, we help manage and maintain these parks, but they're not our facilities. Our parks are for the community. And great cities are known for their great parks. And we're going to continue to do what we can to work with the community and our commission to move forward and making sure that we have one of the best park systems in the state.
I mean, similarly, Leah, you consistently do a great job bringing all sorts of creative programs to I'm not sure, Leah, if you're still on, but
yeah, she's here.
It's impressive how much stuff you and your group are doing, like all the time. So thank you for that.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to close then?
That's up to you. I said that's up to you. There's no further business from me or recreation staff at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, good. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Seconds.
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you all for coming. Have a great month. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. You have a great day.
All right.
Okay,
Take care,
bye-bye.
everybody.